I don't need you to turn off that camera.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Persona 5 Spoilercast from Irrational Passions. I'm Alex O'Neill, and boy, oh boy, do we have quite the family here today. Brian Nabeshin Jackson is here.
For real?
Justin Graffius is here.
Waifu wars are about to happen. Get strapped in, guys.
Travis Baum making his second ever Irrational Passions appearance this year.
What up, boy?
And Tony Horvath is joining us as well.
Hi, I'm Tony.
So this is everyone from the official Persona 4 Golden Spoilercast plus Tony, who's now come welcomed into the Persona family since then. It's only been 4 years. It's fine. Whatever. This is the first time that I think we've all talked about Persona together since as well.
Probably, yeah.
In a very real way. So we're gonna, hey, spoiler warning, we're gonna be talking about Persona 5, the video game that came out this year, in a very spoilerific fashion. So if you have yet to play it, you should play it. I would highly recommend it. I think it's a very good video game. But if you don't care, I don't know. We're gonna spoil everything for you, and we are going to finally reveal some secrets to one another, some love interests, some beef probably. Some people got beef.
Who we laid the pipe to?
Yeah, who we done laid the pipe? Who we took to the boat landing? Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have a good time. I'm very excited for this. It's been a long time coming. So to speak. So let's kind of get started with some general vibes. I just want to know, how did everybody feel about Persona 5? Obviously, all of us adored Persona 4. I think it's hard to top that, and I think most of us are in a camp where it either didn't top it or was like just a totally different thing that was better for them. As we've had a lot of discussions on IP about it. So I just want to kind of go around the panel here and just see where everybody was at overall with Persona 5. Travis, how do you feel? I genuinely don't know where you're at with it, so I'll start with you.
Yeah, to leapfrog off of what you were talking about with Persona 4, and based off of our excitement from the last Persona 4 cast, or the only Persona 4 cast, we were, all of us were hype on it. It was great. I mean, to me, in my opinion, there are only a couple of video games, RPGs, Japanese ones for that matter, that surpassed Persona 4 Golden. Maybe Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, maybe just those two for me. I have to really think about it, but it's easy top 3 for me, for sure. And that was that's a high bar to set when Persona 5 is arriving, and it doesn't help when the game has a couple of major delays. So it kind of increases that expectation and that excitement for that game. But overall, getting my mitts on Persona 5, I can say, and playing through it, I think I beat it in 113 hours. I took my time with it. And I would say that I do love the game. I thought it was a really, really strong story. I thought that we joked off air before we started the live podcast about the music. I think the music is good. I think the music's very good. I just don't think that it could touch Persona 4's soundtrack for me. There was just something magical about that, and even Alex off air brought up Persona 3, and that was probably his favorite. And I would agree. I think Persona 3 is better than 5 as well. But overall, I really liked what they did with the minor enhancements to the gameplay, minor enhancements to combat, making traveling through dungeons more interesting, making dungeons more static and more unique. I thought that was really great. So a lot of really interesting changes that they did. I was slightly disappointed not to be the old guy on the podcast, being cranky and bitching about things. The one thing I would say I was really disappointed in, you see, it almost feels like the Persona series every couple of years goes through a major shift. You look at Persona 1 and 2, and then you see the jump to 3. And then you see the qualities of 3 and 4 with the enhancements. So I was kind of expecting going in to see some sort of I don't know, gameplay shift, like to see something really, really big change. And that kind of wasn't there when you look at the jump from 2 to 3 for those who have played those two games.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like more of an addition from what 3 did to 4 and what 4 did to 5. So I wanted to see that. And then there were some changes that I just flat out didn't like. I guess that's just, again, my age, and I like video games to hand things to me like once or twice. For instance, like the way you capture personas in this. I'm pretty sure a couple of you guys really like the old Shin Megami Tensei way of the negotiations. I did not like that one bit. I don't like getting an opportunity to pick up a persona and then flat out failing, because there are some really arbitrary, not well explained systems in place, or maybe not. It's well explained, I'll say that, but to me, the explanations versus the system itself, it just doesn't work. Like, if you are going up against someone irritable, you need to be serious. Well, okay, well, none of these really sound serious. It's like, it was just really, I don't know. Like, I felt like that part, maybe it could have been written, maybe localized better. I don't know. But like little changes like that, I really did not like it. And as you progress in the game and you get, special perks that make that a little bit easier or giving you a second chance, it still didn't fix that for me. So, so there were some changes that were definitely for the negative, whereas in Persona 4, there was nothing about that game I found controversial. One bit. Like, I thought it was damn near perfect from start to finish. And I had my little niggles with like things in Persona 5 that I could not let go, even up to the end credits. So overall, loved the game, but it just had a couple of rocky moments for us. I think the last maybe 3 to 5 hours, like, the pacing was a little bit off, but by the time you get to the very end, I thought it ended well. Happy there. So overall, liked it, loved it, I could even say. Just didn't kind of reach high enough in the annals, like 3 or 4 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Tony? Where are you at with Persona 5 overall?
Overall, on a broad sense, Persona 5 hits a lot of the same notes for me as Persona 4 did. But I'm the type of gamer who very much appreciates having a game on more of a powerhouse console, right? Like, they're able to make the game look and feel a little bit better, at least in my opinion, by putting it on a PS4 rather than when I played Persona 4 on Vita. I definitely would have appreciated some, being able to take it on the go a little bit more than I did. But hanging out, playing Persona on a giant TV was great for me. But as far as the game goes, Persona 5 I thought was an excellent game. It's so far, my favorite game of this year. I haven't really decided where I'm at with it comparing to Persona 4 yet. I'm going to kind of wait for it to sink in a bit before, wait for it after it's not like the most recent, game in my memory that I've spent, 100 hours on, But yeah, overall, an excellent experience for me.
Justin?
Yeah, so I'm kind of more on the train with Travis, with not everything. The negotiation system, I played Shin Megami Tensei before, and it was way worse in there than it was in Persona 5. So I'm like, all right, they went back to this, all right. But at least I was able to get the personas, whereas in the Shin Megami Tensei games, I, for the life of me, took like 10 tries trying to get one demon to join me, and I tried everything. Music, like he said, I love it. It was great. But I can't hum a single song except for
Me neither.
except for the song that you walk around with, mostly because it's my theme, which I'm looking at right now on PS4. And because of that, it's stuck in my head. While Persona 4, I could start humming pretty much anything if I think about it. Other than that, the gameplay story took a crazy turn, which I love.
Yeah, it did.
I like the darker tone of it. I'm glad they went back. The story felt more like a 1 and 2 story, which was really cool, especially in the aesthetic as well. and yeah, like the dungeons were really great. I like that kind of openness, even though it led you down one path in a way. It still felt open that you can retrace your steps or go another way then afterwards and get to where you need to. But yeah, overall, really, really enjoyed it. Just like I said, and have some problems with it, like Travis does.
Okay. Nabeshin, what about you?
For me, Persona 5 is literally one of my favorite games of all time. I fucking loved it beginning to the end of it. Like every moment of it and every aspect of it spoke to me in a certain way in like that in that 2 or 3 week period, or even I don't even know how long it was, but like it was every night and day, every morning, every moment I woke up, took days off of work for it, just to play this game. Like there was nothing else in the world for me other than that game for me. And there's very few things that have done that to me. You can also say like Persona 4 did to me, because like, that was almost exactly the same case. I beat that in like 2 weeks. Doing that, but like is the way Persona 5, like everything about it, the music, the gameplay, the conversations, the characters, this everything just spoke to me in such a deep way and made me more emotional about stuff that like I usually don't get with video games that often. Like there are moments that like mostly because like how I connect to the protagonist a lot, because of like very like decisions that like can affect your life, but like you still stood up and did something about it that really just like got home with me for a lot of reasons. But yeah, Persona 5 is it was like it was almost my favorite game ever. Like seriously, like I love that game to death, and I can't talk highly more about it.
Mm-hmm.
I will agree. Like I think every Persona game has like certain undertones embedded within it, and I thought about the like the idea of social change and kind of fighting the power, so to speak, like that. I thought that was like the best undertone like subject of any Persona game, probably period. Like I thought that like what this group was doing versus the investigation team or C's, like I think like this made more sense and allowed you to get a little bit more invested into the group itself.
Yeah, definitely the most grounded.
Agreed.
Grounded, yes, I agree. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. And I think like we'll probably talk about the overall story next as well. But yeah, for me, it's weird. I've gone through a lot of like transformative opinions about Persona 5 because like, I've been for a while now, I've been the Persona guy. And like 4 I've, cherished as my favorite game of all time for a good long while since I beat it in 2013, since we did our Spoilercast. And, at the end of the day, is there a game that can really live up to that? And like I've played through 4 like fully front to back like 3 full times now, and it's just like it hits me harder and harder each time. It never softens. So going into this, like there was a lot of concern, is like, is this going to live up to my expectations? Is it possible to live up to these expectations? And then like when you're playing it, you have, because like this isn't my first rodeo with Persona, it's the thing of like, well, is this going to be something that is thicker and more fleshed out in like a Persona 5 Crimson edition that could happen, or something like that, which is just what I've been jokingly calling if they did a future edition of the game. And I don't know, and a lot of that stuff did weigh on me more than I would have liked while I was playing it. But regardless, I had a really phenomenal experience playing it. I had a really great time, and the biggest thing was I didn't connect with the characters as much because like I think they were going through different things that different people would connect to.
Yes.
And they went for a different vibe that I think is going to reach a different audience. And I'm glad that they did that. I think that's better than the alternative of trying to do what they did before again. And that just might mean it's not going to hit me quite as hard this time around, but that's fine, because this was my third time around from 3 to 4 to 5, and what I expected was iterative versus kind of revolutionary. And what I got was like on the mechanical side, a lot of the the things that they changed was very revolutionary to the kind of loop of that game. But yeah, it really hit all the highs. Like, I would say like the game by no means disappointed me, even if it didn't topple my favorite game of all time. But like the quality of the game is so good that even in spite of that, it is still like it at the very least meets my very high expectations of like this is what I would want from another Persona game. And yeah, I walked away really happy with it. It's hard to just like sit, and I wanted to kind of lean away from the 4 to 5 comparisons because I think they are going for really different things, even if they are within the same formula. But it's hard to compare the two. It's hard to figure out where I'm at. I'm kind of in the same boat as Tony, where I'm giving it more time to sit before I say like, all right, here's my ranking of Persona 3, 4, and 5, because they've all hit me at different times in my life for different reasons and in different ways. So I think Persona 5 is just fantastically made. I think it is true, just like 4 was, like the changes that they made to the systems here were the changes that they knew they needed to, and they knew that the fans would appreciate. And I, as a fan of Persona, didn't even consciously realize that it's something that I wanted. I think like their clear understanding of what their audience wants and what would be good for them is present. I definitely like it's difficult for the 5 of us to discuss, but I do want to just broach it here. I definitely understand like, hey, this is the game for the social outcast, and yet there are no queer characters in this game. It's like this is a difficult thing, and it's a different thing for a Japanese developed game, and it is something that I didn't feel was necessarily absent, but I think the game would have benefited from if there was a gay character or, even something beyond that. And while I don't think that, for example, like the androgynous characters in Shinjuku cast a really bad shadow over that game, I think that's just something that is very much culture shock and doesn't play well to an American audience at all. I'm not in that camp, but I do think like the game would have benefited from more diverse selection of characters.
And it's interesting too, because like they, even with back in 4, they really toe the line with like having a gay character. They come so close. Like it's almost like they want to have a gay character, but their culture doesn't allow them to flat out say, okay, this character's gay.
Yeah.
It's like they give you the hints, the subtle hints and jabs that, hey, he may like guys. It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, you bring up a gay point, and especially in Shinjuku with the two blatantly gay guys, and it's borderline cringy and offensive at how their homosexuality is portrayed, to where the Japanese culture you almost see it as they treat homosexuality as a joke, like a pompous joke. Yeah, I mean it's really, really interesting. So and I understand like sexualization period is kind of a taboo subject still to this day.
I mean, if you think about America, like in the 1940s, it was pretty much the same thing of us like mocking gay people or black people or Asian people.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I think all of us can agree that we're 100% with you that needs to change, because, and I think they're seeing it though. I think they're really starting to see it because the backlash from the West regarding the portrayal of these characters, or the lack of portrayal of these characters, it was all over the internet for quite some time. Articles are being written, so I mean, I would be shocked if nothing changed for Persona 6 in 20 years.
And I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to bring it up now, because especially if we were going to talk about characters, but while we are talking about characters, the one thing that made me really like why, again, I don't want to keep comparing Persona 4. I'm going to avoid that after this. This was like the last connecting thing. But what I think made Persona 4 so great was literally every single social link in Persona 4 was like, cool, like I wanted to know more about this person. But in 5, the people I cared about the most, for the most part, was actually the people we were going up against in the dungeons. I wanted to know more about these bad people and everything about them. So by the end of those, I'm like, oh, cool. So they were doing this because of this. And then when I started getting the confidence, you got a little bit of the characters here and there. but I feel like I didn't get as much as I wanted out of the characters, like I did in 4.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll probably loop around to characters
Yeah.
later. I just. Oh, go ahead, Nabeshin.
I did want to bring up just another thing about cultural wise, like as far as like how we're going about diversity for here in the West. I think like I'm not trying to make an excuse or anything like that, but I think the way they're trying to like to have like a little bit of a diverse character as far as like for Persona 5 is like pretty much on in general, because like she's a foreigner. She's kind of being ridiculed for being a foreigner. So I guess that was their like sort of like diverse thing for their audience in Japan, but like but it doesn't really play well to us, because this is like, oh, she's just American, so who cares? So.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like, I feel like if you weren't looking for the clues that she is not Japanese, like you wouldn't have realized it.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, like I picked up on it. Like anyone with naturally blonde hair usually is not Japanese in these kinds of situations. So, like. That's like the dead giveaway. Again, like I don't think that we are the right panel necessarily to talk about that, but I would be remiss if we didn't bring it up in this show. I will say, like personally, and again, very easy for me to say in my position, that like it didn't feel like there was something absent from the game, but again, the game would have benefited from queer characters. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. What I want to kind of pivot to next is the overall story, because I think, Travis, you brought up a really good point of this is one of the strongest and, like Nabeshin said, most grounded stories in a Persona game. And the big shift is, I think Ben Moore from Easy Allies might have put it this way. The idea of like Persona 4 was very internal, right? The challenges and the obstacles that each character faces is like some kind of internal representation of their problems or their repressed parts of their personality, whereas the antagonist of Persona 4 is external. Persona 5 is external. You're actually going after, you're taking the initiative to take down people who are doing things wrong, and that just shifts the tone like a complete 180 degrees, because the investigation team was always 3 steps behind, whereas the Phantom Thieves are out there like trying to make a difference, and like obviously that gets away from them, and that's like the big thrust of the climax of that story. And I just kind of wanted to get the vibes of how we all felt about this, how we felt about any specific parts in the story, because I was a big fan. We'll start with you, Nabeshin.
Specific parts of the story?
Sure.
Like definitely from the beginning. Like I said, like one of the main reasons why I connected with the protagonist so much is just the whole fact of like anytime when like the protagonist Ryuji and Yusuke we're just sitting and talking with each other about like his past and everything like that, and talking about like how he stopped the woman from getting assaulted from just some just fucking like scumbag of a dude, and just like like, and I get like the general vibe I felt is like, sure, I hate that this happened to me, I hate that this ruined my life, but I don't regret one moment of doing what I did. Like he needed to be stopped. I stood in front of him and I made sure that he couldn't harm this woman anymore. And like that was something that really like got to me, because like it's always something I strive to be. Like I've never really been in that quote unquote situation before, but like it's like my mantra as far as like something I always like try to be and always strive to be, is like to stand up for like someone who's being oppressed and like like do something.
Yeah. And like the whole setup for this story is like, because the premise before is like you're the new kid, right? And that's pretty much as far as it goes, and everybody is interested in you because you're the new kid. Whereas like in Persona 5, like you're the kid that is on parole. Like you're the kid that everyone assumes is just a thug because and the truth is you went out and stuck your neck out in business that wasn't yours, and like this is that coming back down on you, even if you did do the right thing. Mm-hmm. But like they set you up as like the heel, right? You're the bad guy. You're the bad kid. And it makes your character more of a central character in that story too, because like
one of the first things Shojuro says to you is like, well, you shouldn't have stuck your neck out for people. You should just mind your own business. And it's
mind
like
your own business. Keep your head down,
no,
right?
Man. Yeah.
It's like that. that mentality, and like it is that mentality which is the antagonist of the game, is like the sloth mentality, which comes full circle at the end, and it's pushing back against that. Just do what you're told and keep your head down, and it's really powerful. It's like a super poignant message, especially today, and especially with how they incorporate like the internet and like kind of the craze of online media. What were you gonna say, Travis?
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was silent.
Oh, I thought you would.
I took a sip of my water. It was delicious.
How did you feel about the story overall, Trav?
So overall, yeah, I think the story was really strong. And had really no issues with the fundamental the narrative itself and everything. I thought it had really strong. Side characters, especially the side social links or confidants. And I thought those were really, really strong, almost borderline to what Persona 4 had for me. I thought they were really great. A couple of characters, even though I don't think the characters were as strong as 4 for me. And sooner or later, I will stop comparing it to 4. But the characters overall weren't as strong, but there were some highlights for me, like Makoto and Futaba especially. I think Futaba may be one of my favorite Persona characters in a game period. She was phenomenal. And I was within the formula, the Persona formula of going through and doing a dungeon, getting that story, moving to the next dungeon, getting a story, and you do that for I think like around 4 or 5 times until you really get the big twist. And I will say that as good as I thought the twist was in 4 with the Dachi, what was happening with Akechi was I feel a phenomenal twist. For sure. And it kind of leads me into my two favorite points in the entire game, which are actually 2 very specific headshots with a gun.
Hell yeah.
In the game. So one being obviously when Akechi officially double crosses you and shoots you point blank in the head. And I thought that was an amazing scene with amazing lead up. The lead up to that was just bite your nails, suspenseful. It was really, really well done.
Yeah, the moment like right after that where you see like Ryuji smile too.
Yeah, that was great.
Is just like, yes, all right, there was a plan.
So it was a really good twist. And then for them to like kind of go back Boondock Saints style and see how everything was set up, that was really nice.
Yeah.
And then the other headshot, well, my favorite end to a boss period was when you get into your basically your Super Persona form, and then you pull out that gun and you just shoot God in the head. It was just like amazing. I was like, that is no video game has taken out the final boss better and more stylistic than that right there. It was phenomenal. I loved it. So like I said, so many highs. I can sit here and say, well, it wasn't as good as 4. It wasn't as good. I didn't like it as much. The game was amazing and I loved it. And all the story beats were really, really great. And I gotta say, man, like it was phenomenal. Like the twist on, I was like my brain was so embedded in the story. I was there.
Yeah.
I was kind of just like going through the motions before that. I did find myself kind of being like, okay, when's the gut punch? Like, when am I just going to get decked with something amazing? And it does happen. It does happen like emphatically.
Yeah.
But but before that, it was weird. Okay, so I'm going through the game and I found myself not as intrigued with like Justin said, like I do feel that a lot of the people that you're going after were interesting and probably could have been fleshed out a little bit more. Like the PE teacher in the beginning, like he was kind of fleshed out pretty deeply.
Yeah, they wanted to set that up really well for him. So and focus on him a lot.
And if everybody else, Kamishita, if Kamishita or Kamishita, yeah. So if everybody else had the attention that Kamishita had, I thought that it would have made the dungeon to dungeon to dungeon storyline beats a little bit more powerful. I like Makoto's. Makoto's dad was interesting. He had a little bit. He was
Haru's
a little.
Dad.
I'm sorry.
Haru's dad, or
Oh, it was Haru's, not Makoto. Makoto's dungeon was.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Haru's dad definitely was interesting because he was so embedded in one of the characters, which I do have one gripe about Haru. That she came way too late.
Yeah, she came really
way too
Yeah.
fucking late in the game. I don't think I used her in a party once. I was like, everybody else is built up. I'm not gonna even try. But yeah, no, and I thought that, like, again, like I said previously, the social links, the confidants were really strong as well. There were a lot of people that I really enjoyed, and ironically, it was the people who were not in your day-to-day party that I enjoyed more. Where, like in previous games, I really enjoy the storylines of the social links of the people in your party, and this time not so much versus previous titles, but.
Yeah, I think they definitely stepped up on the supporting cast.
They definitely did.
Their stories.
Okay,
Yeah.
Travis, we are way too much the same on this. Just
We
saying.
are. So anyway, yeah, no, I really enjoyed the story, man. I thought it was great, and by the time the credits rolled, and I will say, like, I know I'm jumping all over the place and everything, but I thought they ended it way better than Persona 4 Vanilla ended, because it was a little bit too bleak with like the main character actually leaving and going away and everybody chasing him. It was heartfelt, but it was like, okay, well, he's gone now.
Yeah.
I did enjoy how it was focused more on them going through the journey of him leaving, like going together, and then ending with it. So it still ended with them together, and it was a little bit more uplifting because you know he's going to leave, but you don't see it. I thought that was a little bit more well done than Persona 4.
Yeah, ain't no Persona 3 ending. Tell you what.
Oh, it's not.
About that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
no.
shit is
That's a bummer.
Oh, that's a brutal ending. It's almost as depressing as Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. Just in general.
In general.
Tony, hit me with them story feels.
Yeah, that story was as the kids say, lit. I had a good time with the Persona 5 story. I felt like they might have waited a little bit too long for you to get kind of your like mini redemption at the beginning, where like people stop, at least the people close to you, stop treating you like a piece of garbage.
Because Sojiro in particular.
Sojiro, yeah.
Mostly Sojiro, but just kind of like people around you, right? Like there's Ryuji and Anne in the beginning who kind of are against that, right? Like they see you more for who you are as a person. But I feel like it might just be a product of how long it takes for you to kind of build up the fan thieves. Because you're in the beginning, you're not super surrounded by people that are like, hey, you know, everyone else is just kind of stupid, right? Like they don't get it, they don't know. But for me, it just kind of, I got to a point where it was like, all right, kind of like chill, right? Like I get it, but it's a little bit too much for me. I just wanted to be accepted, you know.
I get you.
But past that, the story beats I thought were really good. You know, the game was a long game too, and I stayed engaged with it the entire 100+ hours that I put into it. I thought that the story beats were, while sufficiently unpredictable, still sort of predictable, but in a good way. Like I was okay with knowing sort of where the story was going, but getting like small surprises as more details came to light.
The whole catchy thing was like something that I noticed like right away.
Yeah,
it was like something I kind of forgot because the game was so damn long, and then it was like, oh yeah, they brought it all back around, so I did not.
And you feel good when that happens, right? Because like it's enough for you to recognize it, but not enough to stick in your mind like a thing, like a glaring omission. Like why wasn't this explained, right? So that happens, and I also felt that a lot of like the reveal with the big twist, right, where the protagonist is shot in the head, was at that point of me playing the game. Since I played, you know, Persona 4, I knew kind of how the ending structure in these games works. At that point in the game, I was like, okay, this looks like a time when I'm deciding part of an ending. And the entire time going through that, I was like, I hope I didn't fuck up. I hope I didn't fuck up. Did I fuck up? And then the Ryuji smiles during the cutscene after that, and I was like, yeah, got it. So
they do keep you like. I was worried that I fucked up.
That whole sequence was amazing.
This game gave you a lot more of the like binary choices, or just like the choices in general to give an answer to an NPC this time around. So I was actually kind of worried about that because like you were always answering questions in 5.
Yeah, so
always.
Did I just say wrong and raise a death flag or whatever,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh shit, did I save? Oh crap.
Do you guys know what happens if you do fuck up with the Akechi thing?
No.
I don't.
You get shot in the head, but it doesn't show you who shoots you. And you actually get shot in the head. And then you reload a save. But it's cool because you don't see that it's Akechi, so
so you still have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah. But like I don't know for sure if this is how it works, but I think there's like a gradation for how you get size social link up. Because her social link for me jumped from 6 to 10 to max.
Yeah, I think I got every level.
And then I was like good. Because when you get her to max, that is when you are good to get through the Akechi part. But I think there's a way to like not to like answer her questions incorrectly, and then not get her to max before Akechi comes for you. So
I will say I was not very cooperative.
I was relatively cooperative.
I started out kind of fighting her as. I started out being like completely like, I'm not answering your questions. Like, no, this is garbage. You're part of the establishment. I'm not having anything to do with you. And then as like the Phantom Thieves started gaining notoriety throughout Tokyo, I was like slowly and then you kind of start seeing her, like when you answer a question, her be like, okay, I kind of see that you're telling me the truth. As I was gaining her trust, I was starting to trust more in her throughout.
Yeah, she definitely accepts your ridiculous story more and more as you go through. Kind of, the story kind of forces you to tell her things, obviously.
Yeah,
and
that minutia.
Right. Yeah, that brings her to kind of more believe in you more, and then that's when I started more opening up to her.
And I still enjoy that she still went hard at the end too. That it's like, tell me who these people are, and I'm just like, no, I still can't tell you. Like, you got my trust. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't sell your comrades. Justin, you want to round us out with your feels on the story?
Yeah, like you all said, I loved it overall. I think what makes it stand out so much more is how modern it is, story-wise, and how relevant it is. Not the final boss being the thing behind everything, but more of how people do act in this internet age of reaching out to people and their feelings on things. So that's what made it really interesting, like right away, with the Phantom Thieves and all that stuff. But it's hard to say more than what was already said, because I pretty much agree with everything. Yeah, the Akechi stuff was great. I'll admit I used him in my party that whole dungeon.
I did too. Yeah, I totally
used him for the most part. Yeah.
He was the Naoto, so he was like,
he was definitely strong.
Yeah, that too. And I'm like, all right, he's gonna be my Naoto for this, and then that didn't work out very well.
And then you hated him.
Isn't it interesting that like even though like he wore a mask and everything, that he still looked out of place compared to everybody else?
Yeah,
he looked too
If you really
flashy.
think about it. Yeah,
He looked too flashy.
I thought he looked like a boss, to be honest with you.
he did look really cool.
Yeah, I thought he looked badass. I feel though like I feel like it was the most unsatisfying. It was the most unsatisfying major character death versus how dramatic it was. Like I feel like it was like you give the protagonist a fake, like a fake death that was like super dramatic, but yet like the guy who's responsible for it, who's starting to like
break down.
He's breaking down. You starting to feel like super sympathetic for him, and then he just dies off camera. Like that to me was like just a little But I'm not a fan even when movies like do the thing where the guy holds the gun up to his head and then it cuts to a different scene of everybody walking away and you hear the gunshot.
Yeah.
Like I hate that. It's such a cop out to people who are acting on camera or even to characters in video games and everything. I can't stand that.
Because sometimes the boss just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was gonna say for that Akechi thing though, that whole time till the end, until it was all over, I kept thinking, oh, he'll make a little cameo again, right? He totally had to have survived, right? Like, come on. And then it never happened. I'm like, really? Okay.
No, he died inside that dude.
Yeah, but we didn't know if he could have made it out. Like, again, the whole
Hide inside it.
kind of.
Yeah, can we talk about the part where we're like inside humans for the most part? Inside their consciousness. Yeah, I fucking love the story so much. It's just like the symbolism, kind of like the 7 deadly sins aspect of everything. And like as you're kind of putting that together, all the dungeons, I loved them so much.
They were great.
Mm-hmm.
They were really great.
And it's just like, man, like the biggest criticism I think of Persona 4 is just like, hey man, like these dungeons are not that interesting. And I think like what they did with those was just fantastic. Because they kind of reminded me of Zelda dungeons in a lot of ways. And at least in their intricacy and design. But yeah, like Shinto is like, he's such a good antagonist, I think, like just because he is such an embodiment of like societal apathy, and Shido, excuse me, not Shinto.
Okay, I was like, oh,
yeah, Shinto is a religion. But like yeah, his like everything that played into that, but then like just for me, and like because I knew like Shido, this isn't the end. There's still the weird Japanese shit that's gonna happen after this, which totally happens, and it's so good. Like I texted Nabeshin, I think at like 3:34 in the morning after like the big fake Igor reveal, and I'm like, I'm losing my fucking mind right now.
Man.
Because like as like the guy, I played 3, then 4, and then 5, like. And you're like, this Igor is a weird Igor. Like I don't know.
Yeah, he's super weird.
I don't know what they're trying to do with this, and then it just like pays off in like it's the same shit that for anyone who played like the Kingdom Hearts 2.8, like the bullshit that happens in like the 0.2 part of that package, of just like this weird attention to detail. It is the same kind of payoff as that, and I think it just, oh man, I felt so vindicated. And just so respected as just a fan of that series. Of
right.
They changed the voice because it was a different person.
Yeah. I kind of wish they didn't. Like, I was waiting for the other hat to drop, or the other shoe to drop. I apologize.
The other nose to drop.
Yeah, I was waiting for that to drop because, like, it was a different voice actor. And going through it, every single time I was in the Velvet Room for a story beat and Igor was actually speaking to you, I was just like, okay, something's not right here. Like, yeah. I was waiting for something to happen, and that kind of just... And when it happened, I felt like if his voice didn't change, if they kept his voice, maybe, like, do something... I don't know what different, but, like, I don't know, make one of his eyes a different color or something. Do something different than just, like, straight out, like, changing his voice. Because I was waiting for something to change. I felt like the reveal would have been a little stronger for me there.
The thing when I, like, knew it was probably... a red herring was when he said he put the app on your phone, because Igor is not allowed to interfere. So like as soon as he says like, yeah, I did this, like I gave you this power, it's like, okay, this is weird. And then like, obviously 85 hours goes by and you're like, I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
And then you forget, and then it just lulls you into this false sense of security. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it was weird because the original voice actor, yeah, stuff happened with that, which is why he's not in it. But it was weird not hearing the voice first. I'm like, oh, this is really weird. I don't know if I can get used to it. I got so used to it because it just hear it all the time, that when it happened, I actually remembered. And if somebody can back me up on this, because I swear somebody said it somewhere, but Atlas, I believe someone came out and said that there's a reason why the voice actor is different, as well as not the same old sounding. Like he sounds different for a reason. And that was like before it even came out here, like probably months before.
Dropping hints, man.
And as soon as it happened, I'm like, oh my God, I think they hinted at this like forever ago. But I wish I could find it, but I'm pretty sure something like that was said.
I was on blackout, man. I didn't catch all that.
Yeah, dude, I had fucking no idea.
For like a year, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, like going to that game, like literally, like knowing only the first 15 minutes, was dope. I want to get this out of the way. We gotta air this out. We gotta air out our laundry. Let's go through our favorite characters, which I imagine is going to lead us to the waifu zone. As the kids.
Straight into the waifu zone.
Straight into the waifu zone. Now, listen, it could not be your favorite character. I don't know, but so Justin had the idea, I like it. I want everyone to kind of take a stab at who they think is a character. Obviously, if you already know, I don't think you should take a guess. I think Travis, you're the only one of us that's pure that doesn't know any of who we romanced.
I know nothing.
Do you have a guess for each of us? I'm curious.
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna tell you what, man. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I like Tony. I like Tony a lot.
Yeah.
I've never
did anyone.
And Tony, I feel he's got his head on his shoulders, and he's got his head straight, son. So I would say he's a Makoto man.
Okay.
Justin, I know Justin's ilk. Let's find the character that looks more like a boy.
Savage.
But that's the problem. Like the no character looks like that this time around. But I would say Futaba. You may be on the Futaba train. I don't. Maybe
Okay.
I don't know. That's my guess there. Nabeshin. I almost want to say Futaba for you too, but I'm gonna go on.
Okay.
For you.
Okay.
And then Alex, I'm gonna go on for you as well.
Okay. Does anybody else not know anything? I think
I don't know Nabeshin's and Tony's or Travis's because, like I said, I forgot.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Take a guess.
Well, it ruined my guess already for Travis because I was going to say Haru because you seem like a Haru person, but you said you didn't even touch her at all. So I'm like, all right, well, that's out.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
Shout out to Haru.
So that ruined
Haru
that
life.
guess. So I was thinking probably more Makoto then. Those were like my two guesses. If I had to choose between the two. Tony, you like anime.
I do.
So Futaba.
Okay.
Nabeshin. I was also going more Makoto, but also I keep forgetting about him. You're more Takumi, the doctor. I think you went for the doctor.
Okay.
And
Oh, I forgot about
that.
fucking side characters.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can I redo my
I was
list? I
gonna
want to
say,
redo my
guess
list right now.
again.
I want to redo.
But those are mine.
No
since I-
redos. Tony.
Yeah, so I know Alex's. He accidentally revealed it to me while I was visiting Maryland.
I
and we
revealed
hung
to
out.
multiple people. So
Yeah.
No shame on your phone. It's like just putting it out there.
yeah.
No.
I mean, I'm guilty of it too, so whatever.
So let's see. My biggest inkling, I think Nabeshin went for Oya. And this is something that I told the reporter. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is something that I shared with Alex and Scott months ago.
Yeah.
So there's a very
She
specific.
kind of looks like Chie.
She looks pretty much exactly like Chie with black hair. For Justino, I would say he is. I'd say Justin is a Haru man, but Haru shows up too late.
Yeah. He was
He
so
said he was
upset.
saving himself though. It's like I
Yeah.
can't make the same
Just
mistake
like-
again.
It's true.
I would put Justin on Kawakami.
Okay.
Ooh, the older lady.
The teacher.
teacher.
Very
Hot.
sexy.
Hot for teacher.
Okay.
Get it.
Travis.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
I'd pin you for. Well, no, I can't go with the side character because you forgot about the side characters.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a party member.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Got him.
Someone's
Got
using
him.
his brain.
I'd say Takamaki. And
Okay. My only guess, because I know everyone's but Travis, I would say Travis went with Makoto. Nabeshin, do you have a guess for T-Dogs?
Oh, I know
T-Dogs?
Travis because I got a good memory.
Okay.
I know yours. Don't know Tony's, and I don't know Justin's. Considering that the whole Naoto thing from Persona 4, where Justin like instantly regretted it and then replayed it again just so he could go with Naoto, I'm gonna say he went with Haru. For some reason, I just feel that way.
Okay.
And for Tony, I think he's a Futaba man.
I had the same guess. I was wrong. Let's go around the table. I will go first. As I am expecting to get endless shit for the next, just
Yes,
because
you
like
are.
it happened last time, so I'm just like expecting it to get just endless shit. It was very close. I'll say this: it was between Makoto and Futaba. And it came down to the wire, and I decided on Futaba, and I do not regret it. She was probably my favorite character from the game overall. She was definitely my favorite character from the game overall. But I really like the female characters in this game. I think they're all very, very strong. Tony,
sure. So I'll take you through my journey.
here we go.
Yeah.
Tell me a story.
Let's go.
So people who know how my love interest worked in Persona 4, it kind of followed a similar progression. Near the beginning of the game in Persona 4, I went for a party member that shows up very early in the game, Yukiko, and that ended up, as I got to know more characters, going with Marie, a different character who's, you get to that part of her social link very late into the game.
A man
So
after
far.
Travis's own heart.
I was gonna say you you were smart to back away from my boo. Don't touch Yukiko.
All right. It's basically in Persona 5. I wanted to, knowing that that's how it went for me in Persona 4, I wanted to give it more time. So I did. I progressed a bunch of social links and turned down, love interests as they came up. And then I was doing the Hifumi social link. And I got to the end of that one, near the end of the game, probably right before Haru joins your team. And I was like, all right, I like Hifumi a lot. I'll go with Hifumi. So I started a relationship with Hifumi.
There we go.
Nice.
I stayed with Hifumi for a
you
while in the
motherfucker.
game.
No.
And this is when I started progressing the Makoto Nijima romance option. And I got close to the end of that one, and I was like, Griffin was watching me play pretty much the entire game. He didn't watch a lot of the dungeons, but hung out with me basically for all the social links, all the story beats and cutscenes and stuff. So he got to experience the game that way. Griffin, a big bubbling ball of sexual energy, was not satisfied unless I romance every possible option at every possible moment. He was very on board with this. So I got to the end of closer to the end of the Makoto Nijima romance, and I was like, I don't know. I kind of really like Makoto a lot. And Griffin was like, what if you just date both of them? And I was like, well,
here we go.
I don't want to do that. So here's what's gonna happen in my headcanon.
Here we go.
I'm gonna break up with Hifumi.
Heartbreaker.
and never talk to her again.
Oh my god.
And then after that, I will start the relationship with Makoto. So that's what I did.
Nailed
Start
it.
a relationship with Hifumi. Stop talking to Hifumi, and if the game gave you an option to break up with someone, I would have done that. But it doesn't. You're locked into that relationship as soon as you start it. So anyway, I broke up with Hifumi, started going out with Makoto, and have not looked back. So one other thing I will say is that near the time when I was deciding on Makoto or not, I also kind of liked Futaba, but I had a revelation as I was pondering this one late sleepless night.
She's
12.
Saying, I thought to myself, Futaba is the little sister. You don't date the
I
little
can totally
sister
see that.
figure.
I totally see that.
So
I don't.
I thought that, like, and I said, all right, that's where I was at that point at like level 8 with both Futaba and Makoto. So I went and said no to Futaba and said yes to Makoto, and that's where I am.
Friend zoned.
With it. Yeah, little sister zoned, because that's what she is.
Travis, take me on a journey.
Let me tell you a little story about me and my boo Makoto.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just like Yukiko, I like a shit with her priorities straight, man. Like it wasn't she doesn't necessarily know, like just like Yukiko, she didn't know she wanted to run the end, but when she realized it, she was like, I'm gonna own it. And same thing with Makoto. I like the fact that she was like kind of pondering, like she was a great student, smart, strong. She but like she wasn't quite sure, deep into her formative years, like what she wanted to do. And the fact that, by the end of the game, she knew she wanted to join the police force. She wanted to be an investigator. She wanted to, do some detection. Like, I like that. I like that so there's something about that. Like for me, IRL, I like powerful women.
Yeah,
I'm very much a feminist. So I definitely want to see, and that's a huge attraction point to me. And to me, like she was the strongest of in spirit and drive and forward thinkingness. I really like that.
Yeah, you can tell honestly just like from her entrance, man. Like she,
for sure.
She comes out like that fucking like a shotgun blast, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
like literally one of the best moments in that game was her
for sure. I
reveal.
had crazy chills down my spine through that whole scene. So
yeah, I really liked it, and I couldn't make myself like date someone like Futaba. And like I said, I mentioned it, and to answer Alex's question on the subject, talking about our favorite characters, I do think Futaba again is one of the stronger Persona series characters to date. She's one of the more sympathetic. She's got a great resurgence in power. And I love the fact that everybody rips their fucking bloody mask off when their power awakens. That was amazing.
Yes.
So good. So Futaba was amazing, and I couldn't make myself date like the 12-year-old little sister. I couldn't also make my teenage character date a 20, 30-year-old. Like I can't, like that's cringy to me. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, the fact that you can't date someone of the same sex, but you can date someone of the opposite sex that's probably like 15 years their senior.
Yeah,
little weird.
Yeah,
a little weird to what's acceptable in this game.
Yeah. That goth doctor though.
That doctor, I kind of had it in my head, put it in my head that she was straight out of school and she was like 23, 24. Not as gross. Gross like, not as gross.
Gross adjacent.
Exactly. So yeah, Makoto definitely she pressed all the right buttons, the same that Yukiko did in 4. So I really enjoyed her. I stuck with her pretty hardcore. Now, I did see a YouTube video where a guy managed to romance every single romanceable character, and that
I can't go through the video like that.
That Valentine's Day was insane because every girl standing there with their gift in their hand, and they are pissed. They are not happy. It's really funny.
Awesome.
I got that scene, so I know.
Yeah.
So you did that. You actually went in.
Well, just 2 characters, but
yeah, it was just,
you got that
just
scene,
2
okay.
characters. Yeah. It's only for me. It was only Hifumi there, but yeah, that scene does happen, and I was like, well, all right.
Here we go again.
I will tell you. have to admit though, I almost did. I almost rode the Shogi train.
Mhm.
Oh
almost
yeah,
did.
dude, his
She's
family's
great.
rad.
She's one of my favorite characters.
She was great. I was close, but Makoto still kind of rang a little too true for me.
So I didn't get to elaborate on I didn't tell my story, and now I'm like backtracking here.
You can tell your story, Alex.
Tell your story. It's
Have your
okay.
moment.
I mean, I did. So like, I will say I did not choose a romantic partner until after Haru joined the party because like I was very much in the camp of like, I'm not gonna.
You gotta
fuck this
know,
up.
right?
I gotta know, and I think Haru's cool. The only problem with her was I didn't have whatever the P skill up to level 5. Like whatever of the 5 skills that you have. I didn't have it max level, so I couldn't spend any time with her until like the last month of the game. But I think she's cool. I've heard good things about her storyline as well, and I'm excited to see it in my new game plus. Yeah, Makoto, like I think for the same reasons that she stuck out to you, Travis, like really appealed to me. The thing that gripped me with Futaba was just that, and like it's a little cringeworthy, sure.
She's 12.
No, thank you. But like, I like that she depends on you. Like it's a nice feeling because like I think you depend on her a lot too. Especially because she's like the support of the team. And I don't know, she was just like when you do like the final 2 scenes with her, she was just like, I just want to hang out with you. Like I just want like all of my extra time, I just want to hang out with you because I just think you're funny and fun. And you make me smile. Like that was like really, it wasn't like the whole Risei thing where it's like I feel what you're going through in a really deep and personal way. It was more of like I feel like you balance out what I bring to the table really well, and I just fucking love all your dumb gamer references, and I think they're so funny. And like, you know, I'm easy to please, so I get it. But yeah, she was really just super fun to hang out with, and I think she has like some of the funniest fucking scenes in the whole game.
Yes.
She's funny, yeah.
Yeah,
she's
definitely an awesome character. Awesome little sister character.
And again, just preparing. I've been preparing for this for years. It feels like, but like that, and I like her dungeon was my favorite dungeon because it's essentially a Persona 4 dungeon in
Agreed.
Persona 5.
Yep. 100%.
Which is like just like when it started and like you start interacting with her shadow regular, I'm like, oh, I see what they're doing here. This is fucking crazy. And it's just, oh god, it is so good. So yeah, it hit home with me. What about you, Nabeshin?
Yeah, I need to know.
So, Alex, let's just join hands and just jump off this cliff together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like, yeah, Futaba, 1000%. There's no question that Futaba is like the girl for me. Like, without a question. Like, it was like the moment, like just meeting her and like just the way she carries herself. Like you know, because I also have like social kind of anxiety, like with dealing with people in certain aspects, and like you know, like she's just so funny. She's like I said, like immediately, it's like as soon as I saw her and like seeing how like she carries herself, and it's like, oh, that you're totally like the best girl for me. And like the whole process with me, like going through the game was like An was great, Makoto was great, like almost every girl in this game was like really just like speaking to me either one way or another. Like even Oya this like you know, Tony thought I picked her, like she just seems like she went through like this tragic thing with her friend, and like she just like buried herself in her work and drinks to like just to get through it. So like I understood that. But yeah, like going through Futaba's dungeon, and like yeah, like this, like I said, like Alex said, like this echoes Persona 4, and just like revealing her true self and like just knowing who she is, and like me being there with her for that journey, and her like depending on me helping her get her friend, helping her friend, that whole side story and Mementos with helping her friend out, and just like having her get used to people. Like Futaba is just like an amazing character for me. And like it was like without question like the best choice for me.
Yeah. Now, Justin, you really surprised me with your choice.
I bet. I really do.
And I love like because we had a conversation about it. Spoilers. Spoilercast spoilers. And I love like how you talked about it, so that's why I wanted to save you for last.
Oh, you didn't go on,
thanks.
did you? Did you go on?
So let me tell you my journey.
Oh my
god. No joke. First thing, like seeing the characters on the box art, themes and all that stuff. Makoto.
Yeah, I pegged him for a Makoto guy from day one.
Okay, good.
Why? Why?
That's right.
And I'm proud of you, Travis. I'm proud of both of you because you really do like Naoto. I knew you both would because you chose Makoto.
Why?
Why?
They're very similar.
How
They're
dare you?
very similar. Not like 100% similar. That's obviously why I didn't go with Makoto. But Makoto look-wise and even attitude-wise, like Makoto was a little bit more upfront about everything, not as much as Naoto, where she was a little bit more shy. So going through her social link, I was already dead set. I'm like, all right, like her attitude, like everything. Started the social link. Can you pretend to be my boyfriend? And I'm like, oh, you're already turning me off just with that. Don't force me to be a quote unquote boyfriend with any characters. So I'm like, all right.
Justin, don't play that shit.
I don't. So it's literally started going a downhill from there. And again, waited until Haru joined. Learned my lesson. This time, best girl was not for last. So didn't go for Haru. So this whole time, I'm thinking like, all right, well, because of what they did with Makoto, I do really like Takumi. Her story was great. She looks like somebody I would love to date.
That's the doctor, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm probably going to go for her. Then I started getting more involved into An's story.
Oh, Jesus.
And and it just started to hit me a little bit more like I kind of appreciate what she was going through. With like she has a lot on her plate. She is the outsider. She just from that first dungeon, she goes through a lot of shit and bounces back from it. And tries to meet her goals in life by the end of her social link. And I really did enjoy it. Like I really enjoyed her social link probably the most. So yeah, I did go for An. I surprised myself by the end of it, to be honest. Like I said, dead set on the Makoto thing.
It was that red leather spandex too. Don't even lie. Don't even lie.
That
It was
cat
part of
suit.
it.
It was that
It was
cat
part
suit.
of it.
She had Fujiko vibes. I can't blame you, Justin.
Yeah. But I guess the one thing, I don't remember if this is part of it that I did talk to you about, Alex. I think we did. But no joke, if Sae was a romance option, I would have went for her by the end of it.
Yeah,
For sure.
She's got that
For
older
sure.
woman pantsuit. Let me tell you.
I like by the end of her social link, I was like, okay, I do trust you and all that stuff. And then like her whole dungeon and everything like that, I kind of got absorbed into it. And I'm like, all right, she has a social link. We'll probably be able to date her. And then no, it just does that quick 7 to 10. And I'm like, can I, no, all right, fine. I guess,
No, true
I guess
justice.
on it is.
You unlock the true justice, whatever that perk is.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if that was an option, it would have probably been Sae by the end of it.
So there you go. Now it's all out there. We finally know. God, a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
God, if anybody would have chose on, I thought it would have been the Rize freak. AKA
That's why that was
Alex
my
O'Neil.
choice. That was my choice.
I had Alex on Futaba from day one because they're both the supporting character.
I had. Dog, there's some best support characters.
You just get those full screen cutscenes of them.
Except Fuka. I don't know, man. She's all right, I guess.
And the one social link I wish I did, though, because I was curious about it, especially after talking to my friends about it, I did want to do the fortune teller.
Chihaya is awesome.
Yeah, I
Chihiya's
really wanted to
cool.
do her social link, so that might change if I actually paid the money for it. But I'm like, dude, I need to buy SP items. I'm sorry. They're not giving me enough SP. I can't afford you right now. So I never worried about her. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. More crossover this time. Finally, Nabeshin and I can fight this fight together.
Yeah, I don't have to say your girlfriend has a dick or anything, so we're good.
Yeah, dude, it's finally.
Finally.
It's okay. You guys would just date Nanako, right? If that was an option.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
I'm sorry.
that
That was a nice little jab right there.
I'm sorry. I have to pull the punch a little bit, but like as soon as I saw Futaba, I'm like, all right, she is adorable. I get it. She's cool.
She's a great little sister.
Well, before even the little sister part, as soon as they said her age, I'm like, okay,
What,
I don't
you're
care how
younger than
fun
you?
you
What the
are.
fuck? Come on.
she's 15, dog. It's not like, listen.
Yeah, do that now. Try it. That
Yeah, I
won't
mean,
work.
like, I'm living through my beautiful Alex
I'm living through my
O'Neil anime
avatar.
boy.
Exactly.
I actually named
I
him,
know.
like,
I know.
Alex.
It felt awkward to me. Like as soon as I knew how old she was and all that stuff, I'm just like, I personally, I was just like,
didn't
nah.
stop
man,
you with
it's just a number,
Naoto, you
man.
fucking filthy
I
hypocrite.
gotta say,
1 year younger.
like bad puns and stuff kind of really annoyed me.
Dude, I fucking
Yeah,
I
Like,
love
I'm gonna make like a tree. I'm like, Jesus.
I ate it up.
Alex,
Feed-
I am going to call you Seth Cohen. All right.
I'm here for you, Nabeshin. We fight together. No,
Yes.
I'm glad, like, of the two, like, I'm glad On got in there, and I like Makoto and Futaba. I think are still like the strongest characters. IMHO. But yeah, like, I don't know. I like I said, I think there's a lot of female empowerment in this game. Like a lot. Of it.
A lot.
And it's really cool. Like
Like
of
Sai,
all this,
man. Like, oh my god.
yeah,
Like, she's
Sai's a total badass.
amazing.
Yeah. So like of the social issues that I think like they really nailed, I think that like feminism is one of them, especially like Japanese culture is very different. And like Sai multiple points brings up is like, listen, we are the underdogs here and we have to do everything we can for this. And I just
They point that out with the director of her of the police force, the investigation force. I mean, they don't treat her very well whatsoever. It's a very male. They put it out there. It's a very male dominated profession.
yeah.
And they show it because
Yeah, and
she's
she
treated
fights
really
tooth
bad.
and nail for it, and it's
Yeah.
it's really cool. Again, one of the other kind of things tackled well. I do want to take a minute since we are shouting out characters to kind of go around and I think like try and limit yourself to 3 of like your favorite non-romance like confidants, the social links, because I think all of them are strong. I don't think there's a weak one in there.
Yeah.
Which one? do you-
Ryuji's is pretty bad.
I really like Ryuji's.
Oh, I
Ryuji's
thought it was
good.
lame.
It's all right, man.
Like
He was the Yosuke.
Every
Like,
single thing was the same thing. Like talk to the people at the track, get in a fight or get in an argument.
yeah, get punched in the face.
It's like
get
it's
punched in the face.
I like
it was-
I like the transformation that Ryuji goes through.
Yeah, the very end. Like it's,
again-
I don't know. It wasn't very good for me.
I like all the characters also, so
Mhm.
I'm ruined. But I like ancillary characters and party members, like of those, what were your 3 favorites? Nabeshin?
Definitely Morgana. Fucking like tops. Like just this what he was going through, just like not knowing really who he was. Is like I'm a human. I'm definitely human. Like maybe I'm a human. I don't know if I'm a human anymore. And just like going through that whole arc with him, and especially at the end, like thinking that he was gone, and then like he just comes back as the actual cat that time. man.
Yeah, I fucking cried so hard.
Those were emotions, dude. Those are like some serious fucking emotions.
Was a mess.
Kyle Kami. I just liked her arc. Like she just like someone who's like felt like so guilty about this situation. It like she was just like she like it's kind of sad to say that like she was trying to like just to pay it away, like just to pay off the like the bad feelings of what happened there. But like the way she overcame it and like the way she grew from it, I just thought she just became like a phenomenal character because of that. And of course Sojiro. I think everyone should just say Sojiro right now. But like problem is though I haven't finised his social link per se.
God
like,
damn it.
I finished it on the very last day.
I got
so
8,
close.
so like I'm so close, but like I still haven't finished the social link, unfortunately. So
It's real good.
It's a good fucking social link.
Yo, okay.
Excuse me, confidant.
Yusuke is the bomb. And
He
I
is great.
fucking love Yusuke so much. If I could go gay, I would go gay for Yusuke. And I'm going to throw that out here right now. I know Yusuke gets a ton of shit, and it's bullshit because I love Yusuke. I just like, I also like the symbolism of his arc of like, kind of like finding within himself what his creations mean to him. Like when they're like, for the most part, were just taken away from him. Like anything he made was just no longer his. So like when he can now make something freely for himself, what does that mean? And what is he trying to express?
I only got to like the roadblock in Yusuke where it was like you need to have master level proficiency. Proficiency was the last stat that I maxed out, so I never got through most of his social link.
Yeah, I managed to finish it before the end. Proficiency was the thing that Haru needs max level proficiency right from the get go. That's why I didn't get anything up with her. But I did manage to get. I got her to like 3 by the end of the game, but I did manage to get that up for Yusuke, and that's like level 8, I think, in his confidant link. So yeah, it's, I don't know, like the painting that he puts out at the end too is like truly something beautiful, I think. And I just like, you know, that first scene you have with him in Mementos, like him drawing Mementos, and he draws like this horrible image, and it's just like it's powerful. Like I like how he sees the world, and he's also just like goober, and I love him so much. Chihaya, I really liked, the fortune teller, and I like hers was the one that I didn't finish, and I wish I had gone back. The one I got to was like the one just before you can kind of start romancing her, and it's really funny because she's like, "Do you like older girls?" And the two responses are, "Not really," and the "Hell yeah, I do." It's like, all right. And then the kind of the third one, trying to think outside the box here, probably the kid, the gamer kid. Another one,
or Shinya,
yeah.
Shinya, yeah.
Another one I didn't finish, but like, just like I immediately kind of get it with that one, and I really like where he's coming from, and like the kind of feelings of abandonment. It reminds me of one of the stories in Persona 3. Actually, there's like a little girl that you can social link with, and she like doesn't get to see her parents that often, and she's really lonely. And like it reminded me of that, and like I got to the point where it was starting to get really, really interesting, because like this pro gamer shows up, and, hashtag pro gamer, and he's like
Pro gamer,
he's
dude.
voguing while he's playing this game with Shinya, and he beats him, and like Shinya's like crippled, and he's so pissed because like being good at this game is all he has. So like yeah, but yeah, I really liked all of them, honestly. Like going back and seeing more of them in my second playthrough. The one that I skipped was EY, and his is actually really, really cool. So, Travis?
So let's see. So Makoto really, I mean, obviously took me by the heart for sure. I really enjoyed her story. But going down to my other top 2, Futaba, just again, really one of my favorite characters in Persona, period. So I really enjoyed her her emergence from being like so reclusive to a vital member, if not one of the most vital members of the team. So I really like that transformation through the game with her. And then Sojiro, I'm a sucker for father or father.
You just want to
figure.
call him daddy.
For like father or father figure stories, he starts out as just such a grumpy ass. He doesn't want to take you in. He's just doing it to help, but his life is in shambles. He's got things going on. And as you go through that storyline, you kind of realize, what was going on with his late lady love and what was being done with her, and how that ingrained into the main storyline. I really enjoyed that quite a bit. So yeah, Sojiro was a strong story for me.
Justin? Sorry, I had like a coughing fit. That's why.
I mean, obviously Ons, because romance reasons. But like I said before too, Sai would be probably the one I would have dated, but that's because of her story throughout the game, not so much her quote unquote social link, which is just pretty much talking about what's going on. But just knowing her story throughout the game was very interesting. But I guess the other one would be Takumi, the doctor. Emilia was interested in it. She was a rogue doctor and finding out why, and also helping others.
Plus, you get to take shots. So
yes.
Yeah. Wait, you do? Oh,
yeah,
no. I thought
shots
you
of
meant,
her medicine drugs.
Drink shots. Very confused.
Yeah, which causes really funny scenes of you just passing out, and she's like, "Oh, good to see you're awake."
Guess what
Good
I
to
did
know
while
the
you were
medicine
asleep?
works.
Hot.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's mostly the Sojiro. Like, there really wasn't a bad. Okay, there were some bad ones, but
There were some bad ones.
There were some
but yeah, like Sojiro and stuff was
I
good.
didn't think so. Tony?
Yeah, so I'll take Makoto out of the running.
Yeah.
But I really
Yeah,
like
no,
the
anyways,
Takemi
yeah.
social link. I thought it was really good. I also obviously really like the Hifumi social link. And I would say my third favorite got to be Sojiro.
Yeah.
I really like Sojiro a lot in this game.
Yeah. I only didn't mention Sojiro just because other people brought it up.
He's my curry dad.
Curry Daddy. He teaches you how to make coffee, dude. I bonded. I was like,
Yeah,
man, I want to fucking be taught how to make coffee like
You
that.
didn't realize you.
Like, man, if Sojiro was my dad, I'd be so happy. That sounded weird.
Yeah.
I do want to say I really liked the Twin Wardens, and I liked how that storyline played out. Apparently, I'm the only one.
No, I mean, if we're bringing them up, I wanted to bring that up, but I kept forgetting to.
Okay.
I actually liked it when they. I didn't like them. I didn't like Caroline and Justine until they
merged.
combined into one. And I'm like, oh, now I
Piece of
like
shit.
you. You're actually an enjoyable character now, and I only see you for like 5 seconds. Great, thanks.
Yeah, but
so
she
I was-
heals you. It's pretty cool.
She does. But like, yeah, I was actually hoping to see more of her. But by then obviously it was too late.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think. We've gone through the big points.
Do we want to talk about like maybe gameplay?
Yeah, we can talk about gameplay. God, does this game play very well?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, indeed.
Aside from the negotiation system, which seems to be divisive, I'm curious. Like, what big additions did you guys really appreciate? Like, what stuck out to you is like, hey, man, like they went above and beyond for this kind of change to how the game flowed. Travis?
I mean, honestly, mine was, with JRPGs, I think they live and die by their combat.
Mm-hmm.
I love the addition to the guns and the way they added them into the combat, and also how, I mean, obviously this game is not about going tit for tat with enemies like every other JRPG. It's like, hey, how can I topple these guys down one at a time so I can do an all-out attack? Like, how do I strategize? And that's what makes the combat so good, because it's all about strategy versus, okay, what is the spell I use, or who am I going to have to attack here? Like, it's more about, okay, who has the advantage over the weaknesses that are presented in front of me. So that's what always has like made me like so excited about Persona, is because the combat's so strong. And then the addition of the guns were really cool there too, because it just added another layer for me, like another thing to think about. Like, oh, this is a floating butterfly looking character. I'm pretty sure that I could just, pop a cap in its ass and bring it to the ground, things like that. I thought that was great. And also the baton pass. I use baton pass like
I love baton pass.
crazy.
So good.
So yeah, so baton pass really was helpful. And then the ability that allows your baton pass to make that attack or that move become super powerful.
Yeah.
You add that with On's magic. Oh my god. Like insane damage. So I use that pretty exclusively. But yeah, all the additions to the combat really was what kind of made this game stick with me, even in the first half of the game, where I felt like it was just kind of just doing its repetitive thing. It wasn't like I was enjoying myself a lot, but it wasn't like completely grabbing me. Just going through those dungeons and grinding mementos and just really enjoying the combat is what kept me pretty much the first half of the game going strong.
Yeah. Tony?
For me, I really like Baton Pass. I also like the abilities that Hifumi gave you to switch your party members out on any player's turn, especially at Social Link level 10, was amazing. I love the ability to craft like the perfect, 4-man team for whatever situation I was in.
Like the party switching stuff across the board was fucking like such a game changer.
Yeah, for sure.
Like especially for me who played Persona 4, just Yukiko, Yosuke, and Chie, like just going through the main line just like that. Me like needing to switch characters like constantly. There's like it was
I feel like
so refreshing.
Yeah, I feel like they incentivize you to do that as well, because they limit your SP a lot in this game compared to Persona 4. So I was trying to take full advantage of every character's SP reserves. Because in Persona 4, I did a very similar thing where I picked a party, used pretty much that party, and that's it. And I ended up relying a lot on the protagonist because he has the ability, obviously, to have any ability, pretty much. So I'd use him to fill in the gaps for the other party members that I had left over. In this case, I was able to, use the protagonist more as a dedicated like combat beat stick with the ability to be flexible where I needed him to be. And then
if I may.
There you go. And then use my party members to their full abilities and get the most out of them, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
I had like by the end of the game, I had such a refined combat system that like it was amazing how efficient this party had become.
Yeah, I mean, like Futaba's ability to swap out like 3 unconscious.
Oh yeah, her stuff was also crazy.
Clutch, my dudes. Justin, what about you?
Yeah, mostly all that was said. Like I said with the aesthetic before, the Velvet Room this time around. Oh my god! Like just fusing the people. I felt bad because it would go through the guillotine, and I'm just like, okay, I'm sorry, I really am, but I really need somebody else. The one thing we didn't talk about, and I guess this is part of the thing I like about it, the personas that everybody has, like, and our starting one is like all like fictional, like well-known, thieves for the most part. I mean, except for freaking UFO, which. Yeah. I mean, I guess thieves were, but like each of them are like based on fictional or real life thieves or stories. So Yusuke's, which was really cool, which is Goemon, Arson, Lupin for our first one, Carmen, the Necronomicon, Captain Kidd, I forget. Haru's
Milady.
Yes. Johannes, the Pope. which when you get to the library in your school, I don't know if you guys did this. I read a lot of books. Um,
Yeah.
I read as many books as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read a lot of books.
apparently I missed some, but like there was none I could buy, so it probably was social link stuff. But the books in the library were all based on those characters, so you got to read up on them if you didn't know what they were.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like, reading those. Um, yeah, combat was great. The new addition to the gun, um, things like that, were really really cool to see.
Cool. Nabeshin?
So like pretty much the same way I played Persona 4. I play these games like very weirdly and differently. Well, not completely weird and differently, but like I would just stay with the main Persona just because I don't know, they always look the best to me, and I just like
Because they're rad.
You don't want a giant dick persona? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's riding a chariot.
I mean, Manta has his moments, like
Yeah.
just that moment there. But like that was Arson like through the entire game. And like I've talked about this before, but like just doing it in one day, that challenge to like pretty much myself. Obviously I have as many days as I possibly can just like to actually prepare myself for the battle. Even more like after a while, like after all my SPs gone or whatever, but like the challenge like going through it in one day, or like the one day until like you get to that stopping point, and just like doing that, I found that challenge like so satisfying playing through that game. Just kind of changing my tactics, switching out characters, forcing to do certain things that I'm not used to or I'm not comfortable with, just like to get through the dungeon, or the palace I should say. But like it was just so much fun, and just like getting the once more, just like knocking them down, just like switching up, and just like just doing everything and it all working together. And of course I died like multiple times because of the dumb way I'm doing this, but like
Despair, yeah, no, I understand.
yeah. But like the satisfaction when it all got through, like going through Haru's dad, like palace in particular in one day, that was
Yes.
I did the same thing, man. That was rough.
Yeah,
was
you
the
get
roughest
stuck
one.
on those lower floors and you're like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like getting through it in one day though, that was like the most satisfying I felt like in a video game, like in a long ass fucking time. So yeah.
For me, like the stealth mechanics, I really, really dug. Like the
Yeah, those are
idea
nice.
Yes.
that you are on an infiltration mission and like getting seen is a detriment to you is cool. So like jolting around corners and sneaking up on enemies, and like a way bigger emphasis on sneaking up on enemies. Like it behooves you to avoid them and really stay out of sight. And just the way that played into the palaces and the ideas behind them, right? Like the fact that you could get ejected from the palace and like kind of that you are not supposed to be here, right? Like it's never really felt that way in the Persona dungeons before. I mean, because they're dungeons, but like these feel like constructed worlds that you are truly infiltrating. And then obviously the concept, because I love a good heist.
Me
and
too.
just the concept of like you are a group of thieves. You are charting your way through an actual place to find the vault, essentially, and you are plotting a heist. And then you send a fucking calling card. Like the whole everything about it, like was so like. It gave me so many shades of Sly Cooper, right? Like it just you're preparing for the big heist, and then like you do it, and when you pull it off, it felt great every time. So yeah, like the way that stealth was kind of designed into it was really, really clever. And it's cool that you can like kind of like let that gauge get up higher and fight harder enemies and grind that way and stuff like that. So I'm also like a big shout out to Mementos, because like that's just Persona 3 vibes all over again for me, and I'm a big fan of that. I never needed to spend too much time in Mementos. I know like it seems like some folks did. It was never a place like I never really had to grind out in Mementos. I was just kind of like doing the side quest there and totally fine with that. But yeah, it was just like I like that because it gave me all those Persona 3 vibes. So, but yeah, this game is just real stylish.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it just oozes like care and presentation and just games don't get presented as well as this game is ever.
It just oozes with style.
Yeah.
Like from top to bottom.
Yeah. Like going into a static menu is like fucking exciting because of this game. Like going to a shop is cool because of what you get to see. And everything is just like, it's so fast that it never becomes obtrusive, I didn't think. And like everything from the all-out attacks to just like the summary screen, to the way like the attack options pop out of your character when you're going to attack an enemy. Like it's all top-notch. And I don't know if I've ever seen presentation in a video game as high tier as this, just because it goes such a long way. Closing a few things here, I do want to kind of to see everyone's favorite dungeon and everyone's favorite like jam, their favorite song in the of the game if they have one in particular. So let's go one more time around and then we'll kind of go through closing comments. Tony, do you have, or I'll go with Justin because I feel like you never get to go first. Justin, do you have a favorite dungeon, favorite jam?
Yeah, so Kamoshida's it's not Kamoshida's dungeon.
Okay.
But like Kamoshida's dungeon, knowing that this was like all like heist themed, going through a castle, it was cool. But like when I think of heist, I didn't think of castles first. And starting out there, still trying to get a feel for it. It was cool, but it didn't really do anything for me. But then now knowing, hey, we're gonna sneak into these places. So as soon as the museum hit, I tweeted saying, the museum feels like a classic heist movie like thing going on right here. You're literally going on the side. You're going through the garden, jumping over things, trying to get in. And then you're seeing all the paintings and stuff like that. And immediately I'm like, oh, fuck, yeah, this is a heist game. We're going to be doing this more often. So I would say the museum was probably my favorite, aesthetic-wise, look-wise, and it got me into that like heist mood. Whereas the bank afterwards was way too big, but still super cool because, of course, you have to break into a bank. Like, you have to. But the museum is where it hit me. Like, as soon as it got to the last part where you open up the thing and all the paintings are like breaking apart or moving apart so you can walk across this beautiful looking like Japanese garden thing. It was just really beautiful in that dungeon. But favorite song, I said this I think before we started. Not really many memorable ones in my mind. Like I can't hum one except for the walking around music because it's mostly part of the theme of that Sweet Sweet On that I'm looking at right now.
There it is.
But but besides that, I don't know what it's called. I just know it got me pumped up. But every time like the heist starts and you jump into the hold on, it's just like, all right, let's fucking do this. That
life will change.
Yeah.
Yes,
That one's so good.
it is. So like those two songs stick out to me more because when they happen, and it's really,
it's lit, fam.
Yes.
Nabeshin.
Favorite palace. Like it's interesting. Like I would probably say like Monorame's palace. The museum was my favorite. Like it just felt right going through there. It's a lot of fun. Going through the paintings was really cool.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the going through paintings. That thing got me. As soon as that happened, I'm like, oh fuck.
It took me
I think
fucking
that's
forever to figure that out. Oh my god, I felt so stupid. I was in there for 45 minutes, just like, where the fuck do I go?
But yeah, that was pretty. I really liked that, and like I think it was like as far as music, it was definitely the fight with Kaneshiro, and like and when you're fighting him, they play the like the battle jam. What's it called real fast? Like Blooming Villain. When they played that, it was that moment with me fighting Kaneshiro in the big heist, and like him with his Robo Piggy and just like like him just like jamming to the music sorta as you were like fighting, and that's when I was like, God, I love this game so much. It was like that song Blooming Villain that like really just like got me as far as like emotionally. Like I fucking love this game. Like I was thinking about it at work and I was like tearing up. I was like, I love it so much. It's really good. So yeah, that's me.
Tony.
So as far as jams go, I have 3 big boom jams that I really liked.
Give me them boom jams.
First one is the Last Surprise. I mean, obviously, you never saw it coming.
Yep. Obviously.
Then I also really liked. I like the museum theme a lot. But my favorite one was the Whims of Fate. That's the casino theme.
Oh yeah.
Super good.
That is probably my favorite as well.
I was gonna say that's definitely my second favorite casino.
Casino is also my favorite dungeon, so I guess they kind of go hand in hand. But I really did dig the casino and the going through and doing beating the dealers at the games and stuff, and then going through the maze and the solo challenge at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super cool.
Yeah. And that boss fight was like, I think it feels like the most unique too. Like of cheating this, you're literally cheating the system in a boss battle to make it work in your favor.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, it was just like, all right, we found this. Who do you want to go do it? While this was like a little bit more, it felt more involved. Yeah.
Travis, round me out.
Let's see. Song-wise, there's literally 2 that stand out for me. I'm in the same boat with Justin here. But obviously, the walking around music, Beneath the Mask, is something that it just kind of ingrains in your head. I like Persona songs that I can that I could literally jam to in my free time. And it's not a song. Beneath the Math itself is not a song that you necessarily jam to, but it's a nice little chill song that you can kind of relax to, and I really dig that one a lot. And then the music with the Holy Grail, that was a really good good theme for me. That one was a really strong theme.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one a lot. But I was just disappointed. Like I wanted to go into Persona 5. Like the music was my number one. Like I'm so excited for the music. After Persona 4, it was like watching all the live productions of it and making CDs of Persona 4 Golden music, and I was just like super excited. Even the anime had music that I was like listening to nonstop. Like every single bit of it was just awesome for me, and this just didn't quite do it for me. And it could be like the genre or something like that they're kind of going for. I'm a huge jazz fan, so like the initial intro, the song there, dun, 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 like that, it's great. I love it. I love shit like that. So I do dig that jam as well. But just overall, there's something just missed the mark.
Yeah, I mean the jazz aspect of it really hit with me. So for me, my favorite dungeon was the casino as well, mostly because of the music. But shout out to Futaba's dungeon because of its structure.
Yeah, Futaba was my favorite. I didn't say what my dungeon was, but yeah, I love Futaba's.
Sorry,
for sure.
I just got caught up in the jams.
In the jams.
The bank also had a fantastic theme.
Yeah, it did. And I like that the music slowly changes as you go through the dungeons, and as you go through the game, when you first start the game, it's not until you're a few weeks in that like the lyrics are laid over, and so like the music slowly evolves as you play the game, which I think is clever and cool, and it makes it feel like it's evolving as you play it. And jams, the casino jam was real good. The heist song was really good. Wake up, get out there, very good. Big fan. Yeah, man, I like this game a lot. Do we want to give us some closing thoughts? I don't know if anybody has anything else to say. I feel like
I'm good.
We covered
anybody, any quick thoughts about Mementos?
I like Mementos.
I like Mementos.
Yeah, it was a necessary evil to get through the plot of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, I'm the opposite of you, Alex. I thought as soon as Mementos happened, I'm like, oh, fucking flashbacks of 3. I don't want to do this shit again. It's so boring. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. But at least each time it changed, it looked really cool, especially like that last one of the red. Like where it looks just deformed and like the tracks now like bones and stuff. And I'm like, okay, this looks pretty cool. I'll admit.
I do like.
I like Mementos. It kept it Persona for me.
Yeah.
Like I dug it.
Yeah.
A lot.
I'm with you. I like the Cliff Off World, or not the Cliff Off World, Mementos Depths, which I guess it's like the Prison of the Soul, I think is what the dungeon's officially called or whatever.
Yeah. I think so.
Just again, the subject matter presented was very, very strong for me, and like how that wrapped up into the plot. Closing thoughts, anybody? Feel free, step up to the plate.
Who was everybody's favorite bosses?
The last one.
Yo, no, Shido was my favorite boss.
That was
He
intense.
got fucking jacked.
He gets so
Get this.
jacked.
Yeah.
Wait,
He goes
which
like Super
form?
Saiyan
He was
3.
like 5.
Like the jacked form with like the chain belt around his chest.
the training thing.
So
Yeah.
good. God, man.
Yeah, I like the last boss just because of the finisher at the end was just too epic, man. It was so
it's-
good. Like he
it is.
cocks the gun to the side like a fucking gangster, son.
Yeah,
It's
he
so
does.
good.
It's
It's
so
so good.
It is
Oh, for sure.
Not really my favorite
Um,
boss, but like going against Haru's father, that was like the best one for me because it was like that was the one where like once more over and over again.
Yeah.
And it just felt like the most satisfying. just
That's
going
the
against that boss.
big robot, right? The big
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Where
so
you
fun.
fight
Yeah.
That was actually the most fun fight I think throughout the entire game for me.
And it started really cool, like, too. It played to his personality of being that CEO. So what you did was you fought the company employees first because he was
Corporate
just sending them
goons,
out.
yeah.
And it was just like, okay, this is actually like very clever, even though probably people aren't getting it as much as I was. But it was just like, that's a really nice touch.
Prison of Regression. Just a shout out to Moises who's watching us live who said that. Not the Prison of the Soul. What was yours, Justin? Favorite boss? Was it also Haru's dad?
Yeah, see, that's tough. I really liked, oh my God, Madarame.
He
Just
looks cool.
because it was unique. Like that's when I first realized, hey, they can do so much more to these bosses and have like these 5 different ones, attacking one, healing one. They all have different things. Like they were so much more they could have done with the bosses, and that's when I realized it.
Well,
And
they
it just kept
spoke
getting
to
better.
the character themselves a lot better than past games, period. Like they the PE teacher in the beginning, he was like dipping from the chalice of people and feeding off of the energy of the kids to like get his health back and stuff like that. Like they all had their little quirks about him that spoke to that character, and that was really well done. I thought the boss design, and not just the design, but just their motivations were shown off in their animations, which was really
Yep, and that's why I said in the beginning, like they focused on the bad guys, I think, way more than they did other characters, and that's why I actually got more interested and more involved in wanting to know about them than I probably should have.
True. And there were multiple bad guys as opposed to just one antagonist too, which is kind of cool.
that was cool.
Yes.
Yeah, Persona 5 is a really rad game. I'm very happy with how they did it. I think there's plenty of room for improvement, and I'm really excited to see what they learn and take from the feedback with this. Obviously, like we didn't even get into like the debacle of like streaming it and everything. I don't think we need to.
Nah.
No.
But I think Atlas learned a lot from this. I think the guys, the P Studio folks are working on another new IP, Catherine-esque, at least in the fact that like they've now gone off and they're working on something new.
Good.
Which is cool. Like obviously, like I think Catherine was a massive influence on Persona 5. I'm a big fan of that game. And stylistically, you can see just all of where that influenced Persona 5, and I think it betters them to be able to kind of experiment and do weird, crazy shit. Man, P Studios they're very good at what they do, and I'm very, very proud of them and very happy with what they put out. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'm glad we finally did this.
This conversation just solidifies how much I love that fucking game.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
I can't speak any highly about that, man. I love this fucking game.
Yeah, me too. Like, I really just want to play it again now. But yeah, I hope you guys liked our conversation. Obviously, there wasn't like a lot of audience input for this. I kind of wanted to kind of stick to our guns, stick to what we did last time, and really get in the nitty gritty and talk about what we liked about the game. I hope you enjoyed this spoiler cast. If you did, you can I don't know, like, it's going to be on YouTube. I think there's going to be an audio version as well. You can subscribe and give us some love. I know a lot of people discovered Irrational Passions because of our spoiler cast. We still to this day get new people that are listening to the Persona 4 Golden spoiler cast for the first time and hit us up and let us know how much they loved it. And that is fantastic. Obviously, we really love Persona, and even if we do have some criticisms, at the end of the day, we're just, being firm but fair with it, and very excited to see where it goes from here. Real quick roundtable, do any of you who of you believe that there will be a Persona 6?
I think it's like a for sure. They made a lot of money off this game.
Yeah, they did. This is their big blowout.
I think if they do Persona 6, it probably will not be the same team.
Okay. The Dream Team, like the composer, director, and producer Dream Team. Justin?
Yeah, I mean, they have to make another one because of how well this one did. But I do think it'll probably be not the whole same team. Obviously, they might want to go like a different direction, different story. So they'll probably try and figure out a way to do that. Will it be on PS4? I don't know about that.
PS6, maybe.
Maybe. Like, very last day. The PlayStation 5 is coming out tomorrow. All right, Persona 6, day before. Go.
Yeah.
Coming out on PS3 for some reason. I don't know why.
Crazy.
Yeah. Going back.
It's actually coming out on Vita in 5 years.
Yeah.
Travis, I think you've made it clear that you believe in Persona 6.
Yeah,
I believe in Persona 6.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to see that. I'm pretty sure we're going to see it. The one thing I want to say, though, I want to see a couple of things. One, I would like to see, and it actually goes into my second point.
Sure.
I would like to see it leave the high school space. I don't know if it ever will. I think that's ingrained in Persona, and it's never going to change, but I would like to see it. But what I would like to see it is, I want to finally start to see a culmination into these other stories, because there's so many loose ends and hanging hanging narrative points throughout the series, like the main character from 3, or like this is like, or who's like really ultimately pulling the strings, like why is Igor pulling these wild cards out of a hat and trying to fight against these gods who are trying to cause just chaos in the world. Like, I want to see like the culmination, some of these characters come back and like and see it, and that vis-a-vis would create a non-high school Persona game, because obviously everybody will be grown up. So it would be nice to see some change in these other characters, and maybe have like a fresh protagonist deal with these past characters and everything, because like we got a little bit like, I love the Persona 4 arena games just because of the fact that it expanded the story. And I want to see more of that, but in a Persona proper. I don't think they'll ever do it. I think we'll see Persona 10 decades from now, and it'll still be a high school game. But
and I'd still be playing it.
And I'd still be playing it. But I would like to see that change. I would like to see that big jump and completely change it around, because when the concept art was starting to slowly leak, there were some rumblings that, hey, these characters do look older. Maybe this isn't a high school game. And then at the end of the day, it was. So that's kind of what I would like to see, because as I get older, I do start to lose touch with the high school aspect of it. I'll always love it and I'll always play it, but I do want to see like something more focused upon my age, but in that Persona gameplay that we love so much.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And even branching off of that too, like it feels like they keep teasing it too. Like every time, Persona 3, okay, it ended. We got Persona 3 Fez. All right, we're finally telling the story of the end. Maybe not the story you really want, but at least you got the story at the end and got some closure on it. Persona 4, okay, it ended. He left. Persona 4 Golden. Okay, he ended, he left. Oh, but here's this epilogue where he came back. They all look older, all this stuff, and it's just like, okay, you're showing this us for a reason. Like, right? You're showing this because they're gonna show up. Like, is this gonna culminate to something bigger? Persona 5 comes out. No, nothing to Persona 4 or 3, except for like little hints in the TV channels.
Yeah.
Persona 5 ends. Hey, they left. Okay, what are they? Where are they going? Or what are we gonna do next? Like, is there gonna be a Persona 5 2? That kind of thing. So like they keep doing that, and I feel like we'll never get like an actual sequel to any of these games. And I don't know if that's because Fez didn't do as well as it probably did, should have.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to say. I will say like I really am glad that Persona 5 like is completely devoid of any like significant reference to any other Persona game. I'll say that much. Mostly because it makes it just a game where people can jump into and have a great time.
but it's still nice to see those little cameos.
It's
like
nice, yeah, it's nice for
the
us.
Risei picture. I know you guys didn't. I don't think you guys played
I saw it.
dancing all night.
I did.
Nabeshin did.
Yeah, the
was
Konami.
adjacent to it.
There was a Konami kitchen reference in there too of her, and I'm like, wow, they're referencing the dancing game of all
Yeah,
things.
I saw that. I recognize that at least. So
But yeah, like referencing other characters like Yukari and Naoto and stuff was like really, really cool to see. I wanted more. That's why I kept going to the TV every day, but didn't get as much as I wanted.
yeah,
But it was still cool.
I'll say it's weird for me because I always thought the Persona 5 would be the last one.
Dude, I watch the Midnight Channel every night.
every night. All right, let's end this podcast. Is anybody? I'm trying to think. Should I go through pimp stuff? Does anybody have anything to pimp that they want to throw out there?
I'm on this weird podcast called Irrational Passions. You should check that out, probably.
It's all right, I guess. Maybe. Travis, you out there doing anything? Making cool stuff?
I mean, I'm doing videos on you. Yeah, go to my YouTube page, Travis Baum, Baum. Just check it out. Hey, how you doing?
Check it out. Travis
Doing some vlog stuff, doing some fun videos. I haven't posted anything in a while because I'm busy.
He's a beautiful man.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm glad that we could get this back together, get Tony in on the fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will all continue our like every 7 years getting together and talking about Persona in a lengthy kind of way. I hope you all like this. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. And I don't know, go play some Persona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.